Welcome to Tipsy Reviews, where I watch a movie with drinking rules and tell you how it went. And I just watched Ballerina from the world of John Wick. Let's dive in. Cheers. From the get go, before I even started the movie, I didn't have the highest of hopes for this movie. I feel like the John Wick franchise itself has kind of petered out a little bit over time. I love the IP a lot. I think it's really great. The first one, fantastic, but it is one of those things, like most of them, that kind of gets worse over time. I mean, by the fourth one, which, full disclosure, I did not watch the previous four right before I watched this movie, like I usually do when a newer one comes out. But I did watch the fourth one like a couple months ago, maybe. And just watching the fourth one, it was like, oh my god, this is not very good. Like, the stunts, fantastic. Don't get me wrong. The guy full send ragdolling himself down the escalator. Holy crap. And there were a lot of good kills, and the lore of the franchise overall is probably what draws me in the most. I love learning more about the lore and the rules and how this like hitman assassin world works with like the different operators and the pneumatic tubes, and the new one does touch into that a little bit, which is really cool. But there's parts of it that just get like so over the top. Like, for one, when he's on like the never ending staircase and fighting like for forever, and then just like ice skating backwards down the staircase over and over again. It was like that was a little too much for me. Of course, all of the main antagonists have plot armor and he's invincible, but they want to try to tell us a little bit why. And apparently, his suit is bulletproof, so he's just like Dracula, freaking Dr. Mario from Smash, waving off these bullets. That's how he can survive. It's like, okay, cute. I like it, I guess. But the whole movie itself dipped off a little bit. But it is an action movie. And I think that in any action movie, there's a certain level of ridiculousness that you have to accept. And that was present immediately in Ballerina in one of the first fights, where she throws her helmet and it just knocks him off his feet, just full like reverse scorpions, and just gets launched like 3 feet in the air from getting hit in the head with a helmet that someone threw at you. No, it should, you go down. But no, that's not the case here. Okay, now I know what I'm getting myself into. Good to know. Let's go into Ballerina and my impressions on that. By the way, this episode is brought to you by the 4-Star Ball. Collect 6 more of them, and I'll make better content. So, Ballerina, the main premise of the story is this girl saw her dad get killed. He was clearly part of some other kind of hitman assassin organization. And the main baddie is trying to take the girl, saying, oh, you were my son, like, give my granddaughter back to me. And so she sees her father get killed. She's saved in the end by, I'm blanking on the actor's name now, but the operator of the Continental from all the John Wick franchises, and he returns her to her family, or the people who knew her family. So back to the Ruscaroma, which I thought was going to be great. We're going to learn a little bit more of the lore of the Ruscaroma. We fast forward like 12 years or something, and she's learning ballet and how to be a hitman, but also a large part of that is how to dance ballet for some reason. And I might be the biggest idiot on the beach, but I don't really remember why learning ballet or the performing arts was such a large part of the Ruscaroma from the John Wick franchise. You'll have to let me know in the comments, because I was a little at a loss for that, on why that part was so important and why it was such like a staple for this movie. Like, oh, by the way, there's going to be spoilers, but the movie even ends with her like watching someone dance her performance that she was learning in the very beginning at the ballet. So, and like her dad gives her like this big snow globe of the ballet. I really didn't get that part. Like, yeah, there should be other parts, but she's out there like busting all her toesies and bleeding all over the stage and slip sliding all over the place, trying to learn how to dance to Tchaikovsky or something as well as she can, while at the meantime learning how can undress a gun as fast as she can and grapple mechanics of like the common fist fight. I don't really know how ballet weighed into that so heavily. Like, I doubt John Wick growing up in the House of the Rusk Aroma had to like learn how to do the Nutcracker so well. I don't know, but all right, moving on. So anyway, Anna's out on assignment for one of her first jobs, and one of the people that she kills bears the same mark on their wrist of someone that she saw as a child kill her father. It's a big X, and now she wants to learn more about that. And wait a minute, that wasn't a one-off. This is a whole tribe. It turns out to be a cult, and now her main drive is finding out who killed her father and how she can exact vengeance on this. The whole story of the movie left me wanting. Like, I was not that interested. It certainly wasn't captivating. It didn't have a whole lot of weight to it. There were a lot of great action scenes, although some of them were like way overdone. But I definitely didn't feel the same weight as like the first time where you watch like John Wick, for example. Like, his wife died, he got a new dog, they killed his puppy. Like, anyone who's a dog owner is going to immediately be on board. But now for this girl, like 12 years later, trying to exact revengeance, and then tangents. All right, focusing back in. So she's on this train out, got to find the X. She follows some leads, find out that Daryl from The Walking Dead is one of these people holed up in the Continental. She goes into the Continental. There's a bunch of other people waiting to break the rules of the hotel to assassinate this guy. I got the burps. So anyway, she goes on the balcony, gets in, starts talking to him, and he has a daughter. Oh my god, a little girl? Like, she was the little girl? I feel like that's the weight that they wanted me to feel when I watched it, but honestly, like, I did not care about this little girl at all. So she helps Daryl escape, and he's like, please protect her. The girl gets kidnapped. Daryl dies. She gets away. We all move on. Her focus is not on getting back the little girl. It's just on tracking down the location of this X-Mark cult and exacting revenge. That's the one. Tipsy reviews. And avenging her father. I will say, though, that from the very beginning of the movie, the little girl that they had play Eve, the main character's name is Eve, looks exactly like someone who would grow up to Ana de Armas. Like, the eyes were perfect. Like, yeah. Anywho. So there were a couple parts where the movie then intersected with John Wick while he's back at the Resca de Roma, and he's getting his back branded, and then he has a brief conversation with Eve, and he's like, the front door is like, this, you don't want to be a part of this world, just get out. It meant nothing. She's like, I'm doing it anyway. They move on. There's some cool fight scenes, for sure. I have to say, out of my favorite was like the ice skate nunchucks out of the entire thing. And they weren't hardly nunchucks. They're more like freaking poi. Like, she's spinning poi, but like slicing throats and killing this one guy. It's a very small sequence, but it was probably my favorite with these nunchucks that were ice skates. So that was good. My favorite kills by far, there were a lot of funny, the explosions. The best kills, I think, in the movie that were not John Wick's, because John Wick does show up later, and he does have by far just the best grappling and shooting kills, like through one guy's neck into guy's head in the background. Eve doesn't really get any of that. She kind of gets ragdolled a lot. Like, for example, there was in her very first contract, right before she finds this person with the X on her arm, they're in this club where the floor is ice. I don't know. No one's slipping and falling. Everyone's dancing. it was just really weird, but it worked out well for the drinking rules in that every time like glass shatters, I'm like, okay, I'll drink to that, sure. So plays on with the silliness of the movie. By far, also tangent, the the funniest part of the movie, if you're going with the drinking rules, was glass breaking. There's this scene where a gun falls on the floor and she's fighting with this other chick, but all these plates fall on top of the gun, and now it's like one of those side hustles, like, where's your car now? So they're going through all these plates trying to find the gun, but instead of like throwing the plates, they break it over each other's head every single time. It was so fucking stupid. It made for great drinking rule because it was funny, but it was pretty dumb. Like, the movie lost a lot of seriousness there. But anyway, so she tracks down eventually where this village is, and she's gonna try to kill the main guy. Eventually, she comes to confrontation with John Wick, who the main guy of the bad village contacts the rest of Roma saying, hey, you broke the treaty where this has been up for hundreds of years. You're gonna start a war. She sends the Baba Yaga out to try to stop her. They fight, which I thought was a great interaction between them, because he just like bitch slapped the fuck out of her. She had no chance fighting John Wick, which was great not to see him because of his legacy in the movie and being like the biggest badass killer of all time, not be used by like power creep of new movies in the future. No, he still maintains full dominance, but he decides to let her go, saying, hey, I have until midnight to kill you, so I'm gonna let you go, and now you have until midnight to kill the guy that you're after. At that point, the rules are back on, and I'm gonna have to come after you now. So she eventually finds the guy by midnight and is holding him up at a gun, and he says like, oh, you're here to take Ella, Daryl's daughter, which is like, no, not at all. They tried to insert like this other like movement piece into it. Like, they try to add more weight to the movie and other motivation that was just not present whatsoever. I never felt like Ella was important to the story at all. It was such a nothing burger that I don't even know why they bothered to try. If anything, it like detracted from like the point that they were trying to make. I don't know. She kills the guy, movie ends. I don't remember what happened to Ella, but aside from that, the main story, yeah, she tries to avenge her father, goes into assassin training, kills the guy. I more want to talk about the parts and how it related to the drinking rules and some of my final thoughts. There were a lot of great fight scenes in it, for sure. Not as much as you would expect from John Wick with all the close quarter combat, like the grappling. Grappling was one of the rules that I had for John Wick, because I swear to God, it's one of those things that you don't know, and like you don't realize until it's pointed out to you how much they roll on the ground. Oh my God, all the time. This one, not as much, so I was a little disappointed in that as far as drinking rules go. Still a lot of glass shattering, that was great, but there was, and although she did have like a lot of good fight scenes for it, by sure. And also, I thought Anna did like a really great job, even if the writing was a little piss poor for some of the lines. However, there was one really great line in the beginning that I liked. It was kind of like one of those improvise, adapt, overcome. She was having a hard time fighting this guy in the dojo while she was in training. And then her sensei, I don't know, her tutor came over to her and was like, he's bigger than you. You need to change the terms of engagement. You're at a disadvantage. You need to improvise, adapt, cheat. And I thought that was so good. Yeah, but there was a lot of good ones. It's just, I don't know, the story was all over the place. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway. Whoop. Drink. Eventually, she gets into this flamethrower battle with this other villain, which I thought the flamethrower scene went on for far too long. Like, she had a flamethrower for like probably like 10 minutes, maybe 7, but that's a long time. It's not the John Wick that you grew up with, okay? There's not a lot of grappling and gunplay and karate. It's just not, but that's okay. But the flamethrower sequence went on for way too long. Eventually, she's fighting this guy who also gets a flamethrower, and they're just having this flamethrower battle back and forth. It was really weird, and immediately I got vibes of me versus Lance in the Elite Four with my Charizard spamming flamethrower back and forth, and then the guy's foot gets set on fire, and then he uses that as a weapon. I was like, oh my god, this is Pokemon. Now he's fucking Cinderace, and he's only using his foot to fight her with his fucking flame foot soccer ball kicks left and right. It was so dumb, but I enjoyed it. It was quirky. So the guy's leg is extinguished. They're outside. They're having a flamethrower battle together, but then she runs out of juice. So she grabs a fire hose. And then they go full DBZ at this point. It's fire and water. Like, the nations are attacking each other. And it honestly goes full Cell games. They're walking closer to each other with his flamethrower going and her freaking fire hose. And then she overpowers him by changing the nozzle setting. So now it's more streamlined and just blasts him in the face and knocks him off his feet. It was so dumb. So dumb. He gets up and John Wick takes him out, which was kind of cool to see John Wick in like the Willem Dafoe setting, that he's now like the watch guard, you know, with the sniper rifle. I thought that was cute. That was a good nod to see him kind of as like playing Overwatch for the heroine of the movie. Anyway, that was Ballerina. So whenever I watch these movies, I have to think like, do the drinking rules add anything to it? Because some of them, 100%, yes. I think that it's almost required. Like, it makes it better. Like, Happy Gilmore, way better with drinking rules. Twilight, how could you watch it without them? Ballerina, no, I don't think so. It didn't make the movie better. I was a little more engaged maybe because the movie was kind of a slog. It wasn't that interesting. There were some cool fight sequences and definitely some cool kills, but it definitely helped me stay engaged. The movie was mid to begin with, so I don't know. That's just my impressions. I had a good time. I regret nothing. My friend recommended that I watch this and review it, and now it's done. So, what should I watch next? Cheers. Until soon. It should be noted that at certain times I was a little distracted because my dogs were going ham. Okay? They were just mad dogging me the whole time. I mean, look at the conditions on how I had to view this movie. And now, look at me trying to record it. Brother. It's gonna be harder than I thought. Can I please, for a moment, please? No, apparently not.